So the first news which I have taken is from the Hindu. It is about notification of 4 new labor codes. Okay, 4 new labor codes have been notified. Okay, now what are these labor codes about? Okay, these are about all the labor laws which are prevalent in our country. Okay, first of all, you must remember around 20, more than 25 laws were governing the labor sector. Okay, so earlier there were how many? More than 25, rather 28 to 29 laws. Okay, now apart from these 4 labor laws, there is a news how they will shape the labor sector, or how will they be helpful in the economic sector of the country. Okay, now in these 4 labor laws, I will tell you what are those 4 labor laws. Okay, the first one is Code on Wages. Code on Wages means it will be governing the wages sector, and the act itself was passed in 2019. Now please understand one important thing. A code which has been passed in 2019 was not in implementation till 2025. Okay, why the delay? Because there were a lot of consultations going on, a lot of other issues were also, and a lot of internal nitty-gritties were being worked out. Okay, now I must tell you that it will deal only the wages section of the labor sector. Okay, and I must tell you one more thing, that wages sector was being dealt by 4 acts earlier. Like there was Minimum Wages Act which was passed in 1948. So see how old was that Minimum Wages Act. Minimum Wages Act of 1948. So old. Okay, 75-year-old act. Okay, then there was also Payment of Wages Act. Payment of Wages Act 1956. Okay, then there was also one more act, Payment of Bonus 1965, Equal Remuneration Act 1976, Payment of Bonus 1965. Okay, then Equal Remuneration Act 1976. So there were so many codes, so many laws governing the wages section, and now we have brought them all under one act, that is called as Code on Wages. That is called as Code on Wages. Industrial Relations Code. This is the law governing relations between the employer and the employee in the industry. Okay, Industrial Relations Code, which was the act was passed in 2020, but now center has notified these codes also into the official gazette. Okay, now the formulation of the rules and clauses, sub clauses, that will be done in the coming days. Okay, now industrial relation codes basically also subsumed so many it subsumed so many laws. There were primarily 3 laws which were governing the relations between employer and the employee. Okay, now which were those laws? Trade Union Act 1926, so old as 100 years. Okay, Industrial Employment Act 1946 and Industrial Disputes Act of 1947. There was one more code, that is called as a Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions. Okay, female workers are not having proper safety measures at workplace. Crèche facilities were not there for female workers. So that's why Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Work Conditions was improved. So almost more than 13 laws it has subsumed. It has subsumed more than 13 laws which were related to occupational safety. Like one was Beedi and Cigar Workers Act of 1966, Sign Workers Act 1981. Then Motor Transport Workers Act. Different sector workers act were there, and for all the workers there were different acts. Now they have all been brought under one code, that is called as Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions. Trust me, this is going to be one of the most important question for your mains of 2026 UPSC exam, as well as JKPSC and other public service commissions. Okay, so apart from occupational safety, there is the 4th one, that is Code on Social Security. Code on Social Security. This is also of 2020, but now it has been notified in the official gazettes. Okay, now why do we need this code on social safety? Because what is social safety or what is social security? First of all, you understand the social security concept. Social security means, apart from salaries, how secure is your future, how secure is your health, how secure is your life, what are the working conditions, how much leaves you can get. These all fall under the social security. Mostly the social security is about security of you and your family in terms of emergencies. Why old age pension is the best example of social security thing. Okay, this provident fund, PF, for the unorganized sector workers is one such example of health insurance, a social security measure. Okay, this need was also highlighted during the pandemic COVID-19, when these platform workers, gig workers, they were nowhere defined. Neither any social security was for them. Now, interesting to note here is that in this year's code on social security, we have also this definition of gig workers for the first time it has come up. Okay, now this is basics you must understand. So it has subsumed around 28 to 29 laws which were governing labor sector, and now they have been codified into these 4 codes. You must get into this. Okay, now what are the major benefits which have been promised under these laws? I will tell you. The major benefits promised under these laws: number 1, universal social security, means all workers will get social security, males, females, formal, informal, universal social security has been promised. Number 1. Okay, also these gig workers or platform workers, workers which are hired by platforms to work on flexible conditions. When they hire you, they pay you and they leave you, like delivery boys, Zomato, Swiggy. You take the order, you go and deliver it, you get the payment and leave. Maybe you will get next order, maybe you will not get next order. So such gig workers, for them also social security concept has been introduced. Okay, then also gender pay parity. Gender pay parity. Gender pay parity. Because in gender disparity, it was found that if 1 rupee is paid to men for a work, only 67 paisa is paid to a woman for the same work. This was the amount of gender disparity. So gender pay parity concept has also been introduced in these labor codes. Okay, then also it has expanded safety for women workers. The third provision it has done, expanded safety for women workers. Expanded safety for women workers. Women workers. Okay, and then also it has brought minimum wages into the law, and it has by law defined what are minimum wages, how they should be determined. Okay, so it means it has given legal backing. Earlier minimum wages, Labor Bureau used to say this should be fixed as minimum wages based on the day-to-day expenditure, but there was no law which defined minimum wages. So now in code on wages, minimum wages concept is also defined, so it has got a legal statutory backing. So the 4th point is legal statutory backing. Legal statutory backing to wages, to definition of minimum wages. So now minimum wages are officially defined. What do minimum wages actually mean? You get the point? So these are the basics in the code on wages and in the laws. Okay, now obviously whenever some laws come, then these are criticized also. You know, trade unions say that these laws are giving huge benefit to the trade unions. Trade unions say that these laws are giving huge backing to the employer. They are pro-employer and against the employee. They are pro-employer and against the employee. But what I have seen, what I have read, that ample flexibility is there for the employers also. But yeah, a bit of, a bit of more flexibility has been given to employer, but that is for increasing efficiency in the organization. You get the point? So also there has been a criticism that the 29 laws which were governing the labor sector, they were relevant for all the sectors. Now these will not touch all the sectors, but this criticism is not a valid one, because almost all the sectors have been brought under one net, and minimum wage is defined for all, including the gig workers. Okay, social security for all, including the gig workers. Okay, now one more concept, one more thing which has been introduced, here is the it has given the definition of fixed term employment. Fixed term employment. Okay, I will explain this on the next page. What is fixed term employment? Okay, yeah. So proceeding further, some employee committed a mistake. Suppose a mistake happened, some employee has been penalized that your 10 month salary will be deducted. Now, Code on Wages says that you have to deduct the salary across 20 months, half salary every month. At least half salary you have to pay to the employee because he has to sustain also his life. Get the point? So that's also very beautiful provision in this. Okay, then safety, I have already told you, safety for women, etc., etc. Now what will happen? One important thing it has introduced, that fixed term employment. Fixed term employment means whenever you have to employ someone, even for 3 months, you have to sign a contract. You have to sign a written contract. And in fixed term employment, it is like a permanent employment where your salary is decided, your other benefits are also associated. Although it is a type of contractual employment, but it will have service related benefits also. It will also have service related benefits. Now, when all have been brought under the fixed term employment, employees are told that if you have to employ any worker, you have to keep on the basis of a contract. You have to give service related benefits. Now, almost social security net then has become universal. Everybody will get this social security network. Okay. Now, also one more concept has been introduced, that is called as floor wages. That is called as floor wages. Central government will decide what shall be the minimum floor wages. It will be decided by whom? Central government. And this will be the minimum wage below which nobody should pay any worker. Okay, minimum wage below which wage rates are impermissible or not allowed. You cannot fix any wage rate which is below floor wages. So floor wages will be fixed by central government. So this is also very good reform. Okay, and also these things are very, very important. Okay, now two important bodies are proposed in this act. Two important bodies are proposed in this act. One is called as National Occupational Safety Health Board. One important body, that is National Occupational Safety Health Board. This board will be set up. Okay, this is called as OSH. Occupational Safety and Health Board will be set up. It will try to establish harmonious standards. It will try to set up harmonious it will bring the health and safety standards in harmony across the country. Across the country, social safety measures and health standards will be set up. Okay. Yeah. So this board will ensure that across the country there are proper measures taken for occupational safety and health standards. Okay. Now also one more important dispute resolution body will be set up for resolving the dispute, for dispute resolution, two-member tribunal. Okay, the second body is two-member dispute resolution tribunal. Dispute resolution tribunal. If there will be any dispute between employer and the employee, this tribunal will fast track the case and will decide the case on the merits. Okay. Speciality about the code, this code is that it has for the first time defined gig workers. Earlier gig workers were nowhere defined. Okay. gig workers, which are also called as platform workers. Those workers which are hired on need basis, temporary basis, and they work on a particular, there is no, maybe there may never be a direct relation, not direct contact between the employer. They will get employment through a platform like Zomato. The delivery boy may never meet the owner of Zomato, but after fulfilling the criteria of having a vehicle, being available to deliver the orders, you are just employed. Salary will be credited on the basis of amount of delivery orders you take during the day. Employer may never meet the employer itself. Okay. Now this is from The Hindu. Okay. From Indian Express, there is one wonderful, which is also from the Press Information Bureau. This chart is from Press Information Bureau. It has been published by The Hindu also. Okay. So what does it says? It says that after 5 years of wait, Centre has notified 4 labor codes on wages, industrial relations, social security, occupational safety and health, working condition. They will be effective from November 21. Means from yesterday they have been made effective. Now which ministry is the nodal ministry for this? It is Ministry of Labour and Employment. Okay. Ministry of Labour and Employment. So Ministry of Labour and Employment has is the nodal ministry which has given details about these labor codes. Okay, so first of all, what are the features? I have already told you, already discussed from The Hindu, but I will also tell you how Labor Bureau I will also tell you how Press Information Bureau has put it all. Okay, Press Information Bureau says that first of all, what they have been doing, formalization of employment. One important advantage also. This can be also said that this is the one advantage. It will formalize employment. Why? Because there are mandatory what has been made mandatory here? Mandatory appointment letters. Mandatory appointment letters. All the employees which you are hiring, you must give mandatory appointment letters. So that it will ensure, number one, job security, and number two, it will ensure formalization. Okay, people will get job security and people will also get into the formal sector of employment. Okay, then also social security coverage. Okay, earlier there was limited social security coverage, but now almost all the workers, including gig and platform workers, have also been included in social security. This is what I have also told you. Gig and platform workers have also been brought under social security coverage. Where will the money come from? Where will the money come from for social security, like pensions, health insurance, etc., etc.? So it has been said that every employer will contribute 1 to 2% of their turnover for social security of the workers. 1 to 2% of the turnover will be contributed. Okay. Then minimum wages have been defined. Minimum wages earlier were defined only for scheduled industries. Now they have been introduced for all the industries. Okay. And also here I have told you already, the concept of floor wages, which is very, very important, has also been introduced. Concept of floor wages is also very important. So minimum wages. Then also there is preventive healthcare measures. Earlier there was no legal requirement for companies or employers that they should have annual health checkup of the workers. But now it has been mandatory that all workers shall be given one free health checkup in the year. So it means that their preventive healthcare is also going to improve. Timely wages. There was no compliance for timely wages, but now it is mandatory for employers to provide timely wages and to provide financial stability to the workers. Okay. And also women's workforce participation has been enhanced. Women are permitted to work in night in all types of works across. Only two things for women. One is that ample security measures must be there, and women have the freedom to give consent. If they give consent that I am ready to available to work even after 7 p.m. Till morning 10 a.m. or 8 a.m. So women have also been, actual time is 6 a.m. So women have also been given this freedom that you can also work during night hours. Okay. Then there is also single license is required for firms now to hire workers from across the country. Earlier, everywhere, wherever the employer goes, they need to give licenses, they need to give documentation and register themselves in their labor laws. But now only these 4 labor laws you have to register for. You'll get a universal license across the India, and that will ease compliance. So compliance for the workers will also ease out. Okay. So this is all basic about labor codes. Now in detail, tomorrow will be another article. This will remain in discussion for 4, 5, 6 days now. So please club the knowledge whichever you get every day, whichever I discuss every day, and finally you will get all the relevant material related to mains examination. I will also, in a conclusion lecture, I will discuss whether they were required or not, what are the advantages, what are the challenges, and how to make them more effective. 3 years ago in Hyderabad, I was teaching a class on economics, and I have discussed these labor laws 3 years ago because they were in draft form much earlier. As I told you, 2019 and 2020 they were finalized, but after 5 years they are being notified, and the implementation date is basically 21st of November 2025. From this date, now the one big issue which has been highlighted by majority stakeholders, they say that we should have been given some grace period for implementation, because when you implement something in a very swift manner, it is sometimes it also fails. Okay, now what are the major things which have been taken up in this in the 4 laws? If I hope you remember the 4 laws, that is Code on Wages 2019, the second one is Code on Social Security, that is 2020, and then that is the next one is basically the Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition, Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions, which is 2020 also, and last one is basically the Code on last one is related Occupational Safety, Social Security, Health and Working Condition, and the last one is Code on Industrial Relations, Code on Industrial Relation. These 4 codes, some important things have been told here, and Indian Express has decoded not all of them, but few of them have been decoded today by Indian Express. I will decode one by one all of them for you. Okay, first of all, what does the code define about wages? First of all, the definition of wage. Wage means basically, according to this codes, wage means basically basic pay plus dearness allowance. Dearness allowance, महंगाई भत्ता. Okay, dearness allowance means what government pays to the employees to cope up with the inflation. Dearness allowance plus also one is called as retaining allowance, RA. Retaining allowance. Retaining allowance. Okay, these 3 things are part of your wages. Okay, now organizations are saying that some more things must be part of it. Like what are those? Bonuses must be part of wages. Okay, then also rent allowance, house rent allowance, traveling allowance, etc., etc. They must be part of wages. But as of now, what we have, only wages have been defined, that this is the wages. This is the wages. Okay, the second thing is floor wages, which I have told you yesterday also. Floor wages. Floor wages, although there is no uniformity on definition of floor wages. Okay, but then a committee was set up which highlighted that a uniform wage rate of rupees 375 per day must be fixed. But this recommendation was not accepted. Now currently we are seeing whether we should fix floor wages region basis, and I have already told you yesterday, floor wages will be fixed by whom? Floor wages will be fixed by central government, and no organization will be allowed to pay below the floor wages. Okay, floor wages से नीचे कोई भी organization payment किसी भी worker को नहीं करेगा, और उसके बाद states will determine the additional bonuses, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so this is also this talk is also about floor wages. Now there is also one more concept introduced. Okay, one more concept is basically there, that is minimum wages for all. For daily workers, the timeline is end of the day. When the day ends, you have to pay the wage. For weekly wages, it shall be on the holiday. For weekly, the timeline is on weekend. For fortnightly workers, it is within 2 days. Those workers who work for 14 days, within next 2 days, wages are to be cleared. And for monthly workers, overtime wages. Then if someone works For 4 hours overtime, you have to pay again 300 for 4 hours. Then there is also gratuity and fixed term employment. Then there is also gratuity and fixed time employment. Okay. Gratuity means giving post retirement benefits or giving allied service benefits. Okay. Then plus universal health coverage means health checkups, every year free health checkup. Okay. Plus health insurance up to 25 lakh, plus also fixed term employment. Now, how they are anti-workers and how they are anti? First of all, it is said that they have been passed in undemocratic manner, means without consulting, undemocratic manner. This is one criticism. This is one criticism by various agencies. Another criticism by the labor unions is that it has empowered the employer more. But can you tell me the working conditions which have been fixed, the overtime wages which have been fixed, clear definition of wages, the timeline for payment of wages, aren't they favoring worker anymore? Yes, they are definitely empowering the worker. Okay, so these criticisms are, first of all, these criticisms are too early and they are too immature. They are too immature. Only one criticism which I found very logical is that you have not given a grace period for implementation. So the hasty implementation, the quick implementation, okay, this thing I feel like, yes, it may lead to problems for micro, small and medium enterprises and other enterprises, that they have to quickly shift from old setup to new setup without any grace period. But then government says that we have passed these acts in 2020, now it is 2025. The whole 5 years was grace period for the companies to see and read these laws. Okay, yet the proper system of laws and provisions is to be notified, but major provisions have come out, and this I have told you. Okay, further it has, they have criticized. They have been criticized that you are saying that where is guarantee for urban employees? Urban employee guarantee, where is it? Okay, but then these acts do not discriminate between any rural employee or urban employee. Okay, so this criticism to me is also invalid. Then this criticism is also one criticism is that can you fix minimum wages of rupees 400? Now, no committee suggested 400. Earlier, the committee suggested 375, but that has not been fixed yet. Another committee will decide what is committee is going to be set up, which will decide. So, it is too early to criticize the labor laws, Okay, now they are also saying, the various labor unions and opposition leaders are saying that we had 29 hard-made laws which were made after so much deliberations, discussion, but then they were so much and it was so difficult for companies to comply to all the norms. Okay, and that made difficult for companies to hire employees on permanent basis. So they were using this contractual employee system, they were using this daily wage employee system, because who will comply to so many norms? So these 4 laws have simplified the labor law system in India. So this criticism is also invalid. One criticism which I found a bit relevant, one criticism is that one criticism which I found was basically only gig workers have been defined and platform workers have been defined. But what about all other organized sector? But when government defines wages, it defines for all the sectors. It defines for all the sectors. Okay, and one more criticism, that will these labor laws be able to end the contract system in the country, to end contractual hiring in government sector also? Will this system be able to end contractual hiring in government system? So this is going to be an interesting thing to note. Okay, this is going to be an interesting thing to note. So these were the criticisms which I highlighted. Now, what I want to highlight here is that since 2-3 days we are discussing one topic, all aspects, critical analysis, positive aspects. Finally, after the discussion for 2-3 days, we are getting to a conclusion and we are getting the knowledge and content to write one good answer. Okay, so this is how you have to prepare current affairs. That's why I'm saying newspaper analysis or newspaper reading is indispensable part of your journey. Don't search for shortcuts. Don't look for ready-made magazines and other things. Just go and read the newspapers very properly and very thoroughly, and then correlate yesterday's news with today's. You'll get all aspects. One day positive aspects will be covered, another day negative aspects will be covered, third day another neutral stance will come out from the newspaper. In that way you will prepare a topic in a proper holistic manner. Okay, this is best approach to current affairs. Okay, yeah. So now the next thing which I am going to discuss with you people is how labor experts, some experts from the labor sector have welcomed the law, citing that only the problem will be implementational problems. Okay, so I have told you already that yeah, all the issues have been addressed. Majority of the issues in labor sector have been addressed. So this will be these laws will be considered as landmark laws only if they are implemented very properly. If they are implemented very properly. So here only they have said that implementation challenges will be there. Okay. Now what implementation challenges are there? First of all, okay, what burden they will place on micro, small and medium enterprises. Okay, what burden they will place on micro, small and medium enterprises. Okay, and what about service sector? How will service sector be able to switch so quickly to all the laws? Okay, then also problems associated with overnight implementation of the laws. How overnight implementation is going to happen? Overnight implementation, quick implementation. How is it going to be possible? Okay, then also which authorities, the authorities which have been mentioned already in the labor laws, how will you set up the authorities? Authorities for adjudication. I told you yesterday, 2-member dispute tribunal. How quickly will you set up these bodies? How quickly will you set up these bodies? So these are the issues in the labor laws which have been highlighted, but only the implementation side will see how successful they will be. Okay, but yes, one positive thing is that too much of laws were there earlier for compliance. Now only few laws are there. So therefore there will be huge reduction in compliance cost. Huge reduction in compliance cost will be there. So this is how you have to do the post-mortem of any news analysis or any topic related to news in your examination.